A very good evening, everyone, and welcome to Berani Bersama Conversations. I'm your host, Rashid Salleh. For those of you who don't know what Berani Bersama is all about, it's a campaign where we work hand in hand with celebrities and experts who have volunteered their time to share their knowledge, skills, and performances via social media to raise funds for the MERCY Malaysia COVID-19 Pandemic Fund. Now, how can you, Berani Bersama, do like our Facebook page when we go live, choose a variety of streams and videos of your interest, go to our to our Launch Good page, www.launchgood.com/Berani Bersama MY, pledge and make a donation towards the MERCY Malaysia's COVID-19 Pandemic Fund. Now, please note that all funds are directed directly into MERCY Malaysia via the Launch Good platform. We do not authorize any individuals to collect donations on our or MERCY Malaysia's behalf. Right, we've got some really interesting guests on Berani Bersama Conversations. We're going to bring them on one by one. Of course, this person will be explaining to me how to actually get rid of my two left feet. So although I have spoken to another group that has done one side of it, we're going to speak to this gentleman, Jeanne Swee. Hi, Jeanne. How are you?
Hi, Rashid. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Well, and you apparently do West Coast swing.
Yeah,
is that
West Coast.
correct? Okay, we're going to get to know all about that in a bit. Next, he performed just a couple of nights ago, and I'll be asking him what it's all about. So let's welcome Andy Chong. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay, looking very relaxed, especially after your performances. And next, another couple. They did. If you know Zumba, they do a different version of it, and it's something that I'm very interested in finding out because I've never done Zumba, and two, I'm going to find out what Key Zumba is all about. So let's welcome Azlan and Mariah. Hi, guys. How are you? And your mics are on mute, so I'm going to have to you might have to unmute yourself.
Hi.
All right, there you go. Hi, how are you guys? How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Okay,
Excited.
excellent. I know because I was actually, I wouldn't say stalking, but I was watching the part of the show while I was doing preparing for some of the work here, and it was really nice the way that you guys were dancing. But we'll find out one by one what it's all about. Now, Jeanne, first things first, to our audiences out there, just like give a brief introduction of who you are and what West Coast Swing is all about.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Jeanne. I'm one of the teachers over at West Coast Swing Malaysia, which is kind of like the official West Coast Swing community in Malaysia. So we're the main community in Malaysia. That's West Coast Swing. We're the only ones that teach. And West Coast Swing is a form of swing dancing from America that originated on the West Coast. So places like California, San Francisco. And the way it's distinguished is that when people's impression of swing is mostly of Lindy Hop or East Coast swing, where it's dance to swing music, and it's very high energy, very bouncy. There's a lot of crazy stunts and tricks. But West Coast swing is kind of a more contemporary form of that. So they share the same roots, but they kind of develop in different directions. So West Coast swing is more modernized. There's more of a contemporary and hip hop influence, and rather than being danced to swing music, it's danced to almost any genre of music. And we dance to a lot of modern songs. So we dance to a lot of different genres: hip hop, contemporary, lyrical, house. So it incorporates all those different things. So it's really good for people who want to dance to modern music.
Right, very interesting because you must be a gamer as well. You do West Coast Swing and gaming. Look at your chair. I just need to look at your chair and your mic and everything. We're like, he's a gaming West Coast swinger. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of gamers in the dance community, actually. Well, in the swing community, I think a lot of us are actually quite nerdy when we're not dancing. So yeah.
Sorry, West Coast swinging is not nerdy. So we'll talk about that a bit later on. Now, Andy, you just had your performance a couple of days ago. But for those who are watching now, tell them who Andy is.
Hi, I'm a musician. I'm a guitarist based in KL. I do pretty much everything's music, teach, compose, arranging, transcribing music, recording, perform. But I think I'm more active on the performance and teaching.
Yep.
I do a lot of performance and teaching. And I also happen to play for a lot of like a swing community. Like
Right.
yeah. Because I have a group that play gypsy jazz.
Right.
So we also play for a lot of swing music. So like in my performances, I usually have to play with a lot of different kind of people with different background. Even some Chinese songs, or sometimes it's like rock songs, like a rock band. Sometimes it's like R&B band, or sometimes it's like a swing band. So I think in my line of duty is more of coping with a lot of different kind of genre.
Right.
I have to be really flexible with what I do in terms of music. Yeah.
So it's like being a jack of all trades in the industry in that sense.
Yeah, and a master of none.
It doesn't matter. That's usually those are the best people because you can adapt. So
yeah, we have to do that. Yeah.
yes. Right now, Azlan and Maria, like this is really interesting because I've got friends who do Zumba. They teach Zumba and all that. Once in a while, I'll see my friend on a Wednesday doing Zumba at Publica because I'm doing a comedy show and watching them. Now, what is Kizumba, guys?
Well, first of all, Zumba and Kizomba are two completely different things. Like, it's quite common because it sounds the same. Zumba is more like a workout kind of thing to like Latino music. Kizomba is a social dance that originated from Angola. So it actually was developed around the 70s or the 80s and became immensely popular around the world around 10 years ago, which is around the time that I started it. And over time, the dance, as it grew, it became a lot more popular. It started to adapt. And what Maria and I teach is actually called Kizomba Fusion, which takes the foundations of the original Angolan dance and mixes it up with elements of things like hip hop, tango, salsa, things like that. So there's a lot more creativity and modern aspect to it.
Okay. Now that I've spoken to Adlan about it, how long have you been doing it, Maria?
I've been doing Kizomba for about 2 years now, since 2018.
Right. And prior to this, what kind of dance do you used to do? And
I did salsa, bachata, and siroc mainly at the beginning of 2017.
And how different is it to all the other dances?
So all the dances that I've done are partner dance, but Kizomba in particular is my favorite because of the style of music. It's quite close to R&B. It's got high percussion sounds and some deep bass. So the dance is a little bit more connected than salsa, bachata, and siroc because of the distance. It's quite a close embrace. So because of that, you really have to be sensitive to the moves that the lead wants to intend on the follow, which makes it very exciting and very challenging.
So you really have to be like, on the ball with each other.
One, yeah.
Right.
Travel together as one.
Okay, we got a quick comment there from Yihan. Go, Jeanne. We've got a fan already. See, gamer, swing coaster, swing. I guess we know who's the popular one in here. Now, if you do have any questions from the audience, do let us know. Write it in the comments, and hopefully we'll ask them as well. Now, Jeanne, this is really interesting. How did you get into this type of dancing? That smile. It's like
actually not really an embarrassing story, but okay. So I did hip hop when I was in school,
right?
And then after finishing university, I studied overseas, came back to Malaysia, and I wanted to try out social dancing. So actually, I was originally about to like start learning like salsa bachata because it was like the predominant social dancing scene in Malaysia and in most places in the world. But then I met a friend on Tinder who introduced me to.
Did you say Tinder?
Yeah, I met a friend on Tinder, and then they were just like, "Hey, come join this dance social. It's West Coast Swing." I was like, "Okay, I don't know what West Coast Swing is, but sounds cool. The name sounds pretty like catchy. West Coast Swing." I'm like, "All right, I'm looking it up." I went to my first West Coast Swing social, and then I just like never looked back. I ended up like never joining salsa bachata because West Coast Swing was just like perfect for me as a social dance. So that was about 4 years ago now. So
Right.
I've just been, been a very active part of the West Coast swing community ever since then.
Right. Nice. Because to find someone on Tinder and then ask for a dance. I mean,
I think it's a far better outcome than 99% of Tinder interaction. So
well, because we know what Tinder is all about. Anyway, so Andy, how did you get your influence into music, and what kind of music did you enjoy, and now?
What kind of music did I enjoy?
Yes. Do you enjoy and why, and who influences your type of music?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I guess my lecturer does influence me because I did my degree in music. So before my lecturer came, before music education came in, I was actually self-taught, and I lead a big faith into college because I have totally self-taught, and I have no musical background and no musical study before that. So it was like just straight into college, and everything was like new to me. So ever since then, my lecturer has been is responsible for exploring different kind of music, and he's also a sessionist. A sessionist means he play for different artists and different kind of music, So he told me he taught me a lot of different style of music. So to be honest, favorite style of music, I don't really have a favorite. It kind of feels like I got distracted by the comment.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it up. So you play guitar with New Orleans soul on your performance. Very nice.
Yeah, I guess because I guess I don't really have a favorite. If I really have to put out a favorite, it's probably like blues music, and I think that's kind of like every guitarist thing, that we
Yep.
just love how blues music express on the guitar. It
Yep.
just sounds very natural and very very guitar kind of thing. Yeah, it has that that guitar thing. It's quite hard to explain.
Okay, Azlan, what's the community like now? Because we know dance has picked up, but Zumba has really picked up, but yours is very much niche. So what has the response been since you first started?
So when I first started teaching Kizomba in KL, actually there weren't any other teachers around. There weren't any. Kizomba wasn't really a known thing at the time, around 2011. So it was more on the Latin dance community, so like salsa, bachata, merengue, things like that.
Yes.
And so I started with a small group of friends where we just kind of practiced some moves here and there. And that was around the time that, as I said, globally the dance started to become popular, and people then asked, can you do classes on this? And I did. And I started doing a small weekly class, and then that class then grew into a regular social, which then became twice a week, and then just became bigger and bigger. And then Malaysia had our first dance festival, I think around 2015, where we'd invite international instructors, and we have a competition, performances, and workshops for an entire weekend. So the scene has pretty much grown, I would say, quite a lot in the last, especially in the last 3 to 4 years. And now happy to see that there's a lot of schools that are now teaching it. A lot of instructors are coming over, visit us from time to time. And also we've got a few instructors here in KL as well. So I'd say it was doing pretty well until COVID came along.
Well, I think that's pretty much the same thing that happened to a lot of people, especially in the entertainment industry. Now, Maria, in terms of the how do I say it? The interest from your community, were you? How did you have to teach this? Because obviously it's totally something. Well, for me, it's something new. How do you explain this to someone who wants to learn about Kizomba?
All right. Well, if you're comfortable to dance with a partner, and most of the time it's with the opposite gender, I would recommend to start something quite like Azlan mentioned, linear. Start with the basic front and back, and then when you want to challenge yourself, I feel that you could try and do something called urban kiz and kizomba fusion. That's a little bit more technical with lifts and tricks. So it depends on how comfortable people are, because to jump straight into kizomba is quite difficult.
Right.
They really have to learn how to be sensitive in every parts of their, well, I would say arms, because that's the main connection in kizomba.
Right,
So.
right. Interesting, because I don't know. I mean, I think watching you guys was probably the very first time I've ever seen something like that. So it was quite interesting to see. However, I just want to tell, Jean, why you're smiling, because Kelly Sue, who's is a singer, Dr. Kelly Sue, she wants to know the outcome of Jean and the said person on Tinder. But I guess you don't want to answer that.
We are still very good friends to this day, and both active contributing members of the West Coast Swing Malaysia community.
Right. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so how many people is there a club that you mentioned that earlier? But how do people get in contact, and where should this is like pre-COVID and probably post-COVID? So how would they be able to contact you?
Sorry, talking to me?
Yes.
So we have a page, West Coast Swing Malaysia. So you can always drop a message to that page. We want information if and when classes start back up. We will be posting updates on that Facebook page. And you can also always just drop a message to us there, and there's always someone there who's ready to answer your inquiries, tell you when the next class is, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're also giving a taster tomorrow evening at 8:30 on our Berani Bersama page as well. So for those of you who'd like to know what that's all about, that's on tomorrow night. Now, Andy, now tell us a bit about your performance the other day, because obviously it was your I wouldn't say your debut on Berani Bersama, but it was something that what kind of music were you playing during your performance?
I play a lot of blues music, and because I just finished recording and mixing my albums. So in my album, you will find a whole lot of genre, like just this song is like rock, and that song is like funk, and that song is like R&B. It's just pretty much the things that I love. So I did a lot of I think probably like three to four blues tunes, and about 3 of them are my original. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Azlan, where if in terms of online, I mean, you guys have given them a taste of what your Kizomba is about. How can people get to know you more, and what can they do to be able to like look for you guys?
Sure. So you can look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page called KizKlass. That's KizKlass. We're also on Instagram, which is azlanmariah.kizklass. But if you're thinking about taking online classes, we're working with Durian Dancer, which is like a platform that is introducing a lot of people to dance during this time, and we're doing online classes with them. So we're starting actually this Saturday.
Oh, okay, excellent. Yeah. And Maria, how long does one needs to learn on a daily basis? How long are the classes, and how long does it take for someone to sort of master it, if they're, for example, starting from scratch?
Tough question. It depends on how quickly people get addicted to kizomba. I think whoever that starts with kizomba, they straight away get really, really into it. And next thing you know, in 3 months, they look really good already. So, but they keep coming back, because the interesting part about kizomba is there's always new moves, and there's always new interesting lifts and different kind of dances that we infuse in kizomba fusion. So what we teach, we have elements of salsa, we have elements of bachata, even some West Coast swing moves, we can throw it in there and call it kizomba fusion. So there's always new moves every time. It depends on how hooked they are. So a lot of dancers, I think they dance 3 to 4 times a week. So if they keep that up, within 3 months, they will look good.
I see a collaboration somewhere here. It's like I love these conversations because it's suddenly like, everyone's connected to each other. You got your friend who can help you out, Jeanne. There's like West Coast Swing Malaysia Facebook page here. So I'll put it up for a while. There we go. Facebook.com WCS MSIA.
One of the OGs in the West Coast Swing community.
Somebody said, bet we'd see Rashid, Salleh in the next class. No, you won't. Trust me. That's my answer. You won't. I'll be a very good spectator. Trust me. 2 left feet. I'll stick to rugby where I think that's where my coordination lies. Now, guys, let's talk a bit about this MCO. How has it affected you guys in terms of your own various communities? Jeanne.
Well, everything's been kind of put on hold indefinitely for West Coast Swing. We're not doing online classes at the moment. I guess it's something that we might consider if it goes on much longer.
Mm-hmm.
But having said that, I think the main challenge is kind of just staying motivated. Like, we've all stayed connected, the community is very tight-knit, very close. So we're still talking, and, it's quite a positive outlook. But at the same time, it's mostly just kind of waiting and, sharing knowledge, sharing drills that we're working on at home while we're waiting.
I see. And then Andy, I mean, obviously, again, a lot of musicians are sidelined during this MCO, but we have had cases where there are still people teaching online. I've got a friend in Sarawak teaching her kids online with the piano and stuff. What are you doing to keep yourself above water?
I think at the moment I lost all my gigs, pretty much no gigs. I did a bit of teaching, yes. At the moment, I'm offering a lot of mixing, mastering, and recordings, and also a lot like one-to-one teaching kind of lessons. Yeah, because most of the time I teach under academy, so they have students and they are assigned to me. But I also have my own personal students, which I teach certain a very specific kind of thing.
Yeah. Right. And what about online? Has anything been like,
To be honest, there's not much. They're not too much, to be honest. Yeah, because I guess not every parent want their kid to learn online. I think there's also some inefficiency in online teaching. There's shows, especially for music, something that is very practical. We need to show you how you're gonna play these things, how you're gonna play, how you're gonna hold it. It's all very
technical.
It's very hard to describe with words. You need to pinpoint certain things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there goes the parents trying to send their kids away so they have a bit of free time, because I know what that's like because I'm a parent myself. Now, okay, Azlan, everything's like shut down. Where do you guys go from here? What are you guys doing in terms of trying to keep yourself afloat?
Well, it's actually really good to see what the community is doing. Like, a lot of teachers are doing like online classes, and a lot of our DJs as well are doing like Facebook Live gigs where they're like playing mixes throughout the night. So shout out to DJ Salva, DJ Flavian. These are two of my favorites. So I think I would say that the community, in a sense, has really kind of banded together, to keep a connection, even if it's not physical, in some way over the internet. So that's how we've done it. But the other thing as well is, like with dance, connection is definitely one part of it, but there's a lot more as well in terms of like, music, interpretation, body movement, weight control. So there's still a lot of ways that we can improve ourselves, even without a dance partner in front. So I think that we don't have a lot of choice. These are the areas that we're forced to focus on. And I think once things get better, and I hope it's a when rather than an if, we'll appreciate that kind of like human contact, that connection, in a way that maybe we took for granted before. Yeah,
everyone I think has pretty much taken that touch, feel, and everything for granted, contact. So it's really, really important. Now, Maria, in terms of how have you kept yourself from one, obviously boredom, but just keeping yourself sane during this time?
I've been fine because I see a lot of online courses, international online courses that I can take now. Because before this, I feel like I was quite limited to what the festivals were in Malaysia and what online courses was available. But now, because of the MCO, everybody's teaching online, including instructors from Europe, from UK, the ones that I look up to. So now it's a lot more accessible, and I feel like I'm learning a lot faster than before the MCO. So I'm quite happy with all the new courses that I'm taking up, including some lady styling classes, stuff that I can work on individually, even though it's a partner dance.
There we go. So at least you're making full use of the time that you're stuck at home, which is really, really great. We've got a question here from Ardavan Hematpour. He says, how do you see the dance go for the rest of 2020? Now, who wants to answer that? Azlan?
I think there's a lot of predictions being made, and I think it's pretty hard to tell what's going to happen. I think that I do expect things will start to probably get better towards the end of the year, but I think people are going to be very cautious, especially with the nature of our dance, with close embrace and being so close to people. So I think the hardcore dancers will be out first. They'll be fixed for everybody, and then once they're okay and there's no other outbreaks, then gradually the scene will inevitably start to grow and then get back to where we were. But probably it won't be to the same way that it was before COVID for quite a while. I expect either maybe another 6 months or until they come out with a vaccine.
Yeah, well, either or. Jeanne, have you been gaming a lot, Jeanne, whilst and not dancing? Tell me about either dance. We're either gaming or on Tinder. Which one is it?
Oh, gaming for sure. No, I'm out of that. I'm out of that game, man.
And why is that? Why are we out the game? Or is someone watching?
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say I'm out of the game. Yeah.
All right, you're out of the game.
Yeah,
so
plenty of other video games to play. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have you kept yourself still dancing during this time there?
Yeah, I try. I really try, but I think I'm kind of like as much as I try to set a good example, I think I'm one of those people that like really thrives on the social and competitive aspect of dancing. So I've been trying to incorporate like drills and stuff into my work from home routine and into my workout schedule. But it's really a challenge every day to try and stay motivated to actually do it. And this is something that a lot of us have been talking about. A lot of my friends, like even though like because of the way things are now, and you ask how is dance going to go for the rest of 2020, and the answer is really like it doesn't look good for 2020. Like maybe like in Malaysia at some point, if the numbers are low enough, you'll be able to resume dancing in Malaysia. But the big thing is these events, which really is like where we have our best experiences, where we learn the most, where we have our best dances, and those probably aren't going to be back until 2021. So it's just a challenge, trying to stay positive, trying to keep working on it.
Well, Andy, in terms of you said right at the beginning that you'd lost all your gigs, but post COVID-19, do you think you'll get some of those gigs back, or do you think people are, especially if you're doing like solo performances, it should be easier, don't you think?
To be honest, I don't really do solo performances. When I do a performances, usually is in a band setting. Yeah, solo performances like what you see 2 days ago in Berani Bersama page is like because I had the album recorded, so I have the backtracks of the songs that I wrote. So yeah, so pretty much I'm kind of playing for band, but not really. Yeah.
So that was your first. Well, was it your first time actually doing it alone on
Oh
live?
yes, definitely. Yeah, it was very very refreshing. Yeah, it's not easy though, because I have to. I guess a lot of performances when they do live, they use like a phone with like phone mic, so you heard a lot of echoes and a lot of room echo and whatnot. But I did a different way, which I produce. I play live and I record into my interfaces, and I did mix and putting up effects and mixing, doing the EQ and make it sounds a bit proper. Yes,
presentable.
Yeah.
Okay, the final question is for you and Azlan and Maria. How did you feel having to perform to a virtual audience? Azlan?
Oh, it's a different experience. Like, you know, especially given a partner dance, right? It's much better to teach it with the instructor in the same room. But we had to figure out how to teach it, like, you know, separately. So you'd be forgiven to think it's similar to Zumba, thinking like you're dancing separately. But actually, yeah, it's a partner dance. So it's definitely a challenge. And also like pacing, you know, when you're teaching in a class, usually you get immediate feedback, right? You see people and you see what they're catching, what they're not catching. Whereas doing it online, a lot of times it's like you're teaching a wall. You know, you're teaching via YouTube or a video, and you're just hoping that they get it. So if we're doing like an online class, we'll try and look at the video and see how people are doing on it. But yeah, it's definitely a different experience. But it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't know. The good thing is you can't correct them either. So you just move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Maria, how about you?
It was really interesting because I'm not really tech savvy and all this video cameras, microphone. But then suddenly, when I joined the Durian Dancer platform to teach with Azlan, they were telling me, okay, open Zoom, try Microsoft Teams. How do we split the screen? How's your microphone? How's the distance from the and the lighting? It all got very technical, very fast. And Sanjeev as well from this platform helped me as well. So that was really interesting, fun.
Something new to learn, yeah, in these last 2 months. Now, at least everyone hopefully will be tech savvy by the time COVID-19 is over. And well, you know, you'll have now alternatives to either do it physically and you can do it virtually. Except for Jeanne, who's probably been gaming all his life anyway. So, yeah.
Training my whole life for this.
There we go. Right, guys, thank you ever so much for coming on the show on Berani Bersama Conversation. It's been really good, very, very educational for me and very insightful, especially the Tinder stuff. But on behalf of our Facebook page, you know, I'm sure somebody outside will probably ask you, who is that Tinder date? They're going to find out tomorrow night, 8:30. Come and watch them perform. Thank you, Andy, Maria, and Azlan for your performances prior to this as well. And on behalf of Berani Bersama, thank you for sharing your knowledge and your skills as well. For those of you out there, please do donate and log into www.launchgood.com/Berani Bersama MY and donate as much as you can or as little as you can as well. But from me, Rashid Salleh here on Berani Bersama Conversations, and on behalf of my guests here, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.